This is DJ Lisa, and you're listening to KVCM, Monarch Radio, the voice of Valley College. And I have a guest who I'm going to be interviewing on the phone today, and her name is Jamie Skylar. She's a singer, songwriter, and piano player. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Well, nice to be here, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you. I want to ask you all these questions about your music, and if there's anything else that you want to share, just go ahead and chime in and let me know anything that would be of interest to your fans or maybe your future fans, our listeners.
Great.
Cool.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So let us begin. So my first question is, I always love hearing the history of how people got into music or got into whatever art that it is that really drives them. So when did you first show interest in music in terms of being a musician? Like, did it start in childhood or when you were a teen?
Well, it's I started so young that I've just always done it. But according to my mom, she said that by the time I was 2, I loved to sing, and that I could hear a song just once on the radio or in church or anywhere, and I knew all the words and I could sing it. The musician part, came later. I bought my first guitar at age 11 with money I had saved from babysitting and doing odd jobs for my mom and, neighbors in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I wrote my first song right after my 12th birthday.
Wow.
So, I just kind of always knew. And I had all these epiphanies and everything as a child that were directing me. So it's been a really amazing trip, which, has culminated in this latest album, which I finally got to do the kind of album I wanted to do. Not just, go make more music or see what was trending or whatever, but it was about doing a work of art that would stand the test of time. You could pick it up today and play it, and you can play it in 20 or 50 years, and it'll still resonate with you and hit you on some, deeper level.
That's what I thought when I heard it. I didn't have any sort of preconceived idea of what I was going to be hearing. I didn't really know what to expect. And I did think that it had a timeless sound, and there was something very classic about it. Classic.
That's very cool to hear. Yeah, people have been telling us that it affects them on a very profound level. We've had grown men contact me and different guys from the band and tell us, one guy told us that he almost wrecked his car. He was driving down the street and he was listening to My Wish for You. It's a song that I wrote for my sons. And he said he's got daughters. So it made him start crying and he couldn't see. He literally had to pull off the road.
Ah.
And that was amazing. I mean, you talk about grown men, and this guy is, he's hardcore industry. They're not crybabies.
Right.
And these, and it was touching them on that level. So, I just felt like it was great. And somehow there was magic going on when we were making this album. We started in San Francisco, and we could all feel it. And it was just one of the most amazing experiences of my life, just making this album and everything that happened and all the songs along the way. So it's awesome.
Wow, that's really cool. And what about piano and vocals called to you over other instruments? I play guitar and some bass, and I toy with a couple other instruments, and I had the opportunity to learn piano as a kid, but I really wanted to play electric guitar. So what was it about those instruments, your voice as an instrument and the piano, that really called to you?
Well, again, that's funny because I've started out playing guitar and played that, from the time I was just before my 12th birthday. Bought it for myself as a birthday present. And I didn't start playing piano until I was about 23. My mom had died, and I'd been on tour for 6 months, and I'd strained my wrist. So I'd had to have surgery on my left wrist. And I decided that it'd be good therapy for me to get over my mom and everything. So I went and bought myself a piano. And all I could do for 2-3 months was play with my right hand. And I tried to teach myself to read music. But, when you can just hear it and play it, it's kind of like going back to kindergarten. It always kind of reminds me of that scene out of Good Will Hunting where he's trying to explain to her how he can do math. He says, like playing the piano, I could just always play. Well, that's how it's been with me in music. I could just always play. I didn't have any lessons, didn't take any lessons, and I tried to take a music theory class once, and I got thrown out. The professor called me up at the end of the class, and she said, "Why are you taking this class?" And I said, "I can't read music." She says, "My dear, you have a gift. Go home and write." Because I played her, she made everybody go around the class, right? Play something you've either learned or you've written. So I had been playing piano like 3 months, and I wanted to write something that sounded classical. So I had written a classical piece of music, sounded classical to me, and she called it a concerto, so I guess that's what it was. So I had played her this monster song on the piano, right? And when I went into her office, she said, "How long have you been playing?" And I said, "Piano?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "About 3 months." She said, "No, I mean, like working on this song, but how long have you been playing?" And I said, 3 months. And she said, "Why do you want to take this class?" And I told her, I said, "I can't read music." She said, "I've seen people try to do what you're doing, and they have ruined their gift." She says, "You have a gift. My dear, go home and just write." So that was it. That was the end of my formal training. It lasted about 45 minutes.
Something very similar happened to me, too, because I used to make up my own way of, quote unquote, writing music. Like, I'd be like, okay, I knew like D, A, C, A minor, and I'd write like 4X, like A, M, and then I'd write 4X for like hit it 4 times. And then when I came here and I started learning how to, read notation and, take some of these theory classes, it was like I had to not just learn new things, but I had to unlearn the way I was doing it, which was completely wrong. Like I butchered notation. I almost said nutrition. So I can relate to that because I play by ear too, and I make up stuff and I get melodies in my head. So I can totally relate to what you're saying.
Oh, so we're so susceptible. I can even hear other people's songs, and you walk away and it gets stuck in your head.
Oh, yeah. That's how I heard the Old Gray Whistle Test got its name. Do you know that show?
Oh, yeah.
From the 70s. It was like a British show, and they had men who would wear gray suits, and they would say if these bands that we had that auditioned, if you can whistle it, then it passed the quote-unquote Old Gray Whistle Test, that we know that those bands are going to be like earworms. People are going to remember them, and they're going to become hits. So
I do recall that somewhere in the deep, deep back recesses.
They still have on YouTube, they have episodes of that show, and it's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
A lot of good bands.
There's so much out there now. I mean, you can just be absorbed being on there. No wonder people get addicted and they're on there all day, every day. I don't have that much time. I don't have that luxury. But every now and then, I get, I grab something as it's going by.
I just get caught up in like the music videos and researching the bands. I watch some cooking videos and mainly just the videos. Other than that, I don't really bother with it. But if it's music videos or like live footage, rockumentaries, things like that, it's hard to stop watching it.
Oh yeah, no, I know. You can get hooked. I was watching baby chicks or something the other day, or baby ducks learning to swim for the first time. I went there to make sure that things were up that were supposed to be up and all that kind of stuff. And then you end up watching ducks learning to swim.
That's cool. No, I like talking about animals too. I was going to ask you my next question. So your particular songwriting style, I sense sort of like an Elton John, like early Elton John kind of soulful style, something that be like a classic rock, 70s inspired kind of sound. That's how I heard it. Or maybe like Queen or something like that. But what is your songwriting style in your own words? And the second part of the question is, do you find that you write the music or the lyrics first?
Once again, a very interesting question.
Thank you.
The great ones have fallen out in the same amount of time it takes to play them. Music, lyrics, everything. Really, it's like channeling God. But some words have been given to me in dreams, like It Makes Me Crazy, Lay Me Down, and one of the latest was I Know You Know the Walrus Too, where I was given the words in a dream by John Lennon.
Wow.
that was a life-changing experience, I got to tell you.
Wow.
And it's in song. You can hear it in the song. In fact, he actually gave me the first words, the scenario basically for the song, and gave me the first part of the lyrics for the third verse of the song.
Wow.
But that was a very interesting case because I started writing the song. I listened to the news one night, and it was all bad, and it was, man's inhumanity to man, which is very difficult for me. I'm a very sensitive person, and not just sensitive on a psychic level, but sensitive on other levels to the human condition and everything, like most of us are. But, I like cry at Lassie, so...
Not everyone's tuned into it, like tapped into
Hallmark
it.
Commercials, right?
Hallmark commercials?
I'm very sensitive, but I went in to my grand piano, and I sat down, and I started playing, and the next thing I knew, the first verse and the second verse had fallen out. And usually when it happens like that, the whole song falls out. And it just didn't happen. I got to that point, and I knew I was going into the studio the following summer, as soon as I got finished at UCLA. And on my summer break, while everybody else was getting summer jobs, I was going to make this album. So I went in there for 9 months because I wanted to finish the song. I wanted it on the album. And 9 months in a row, nothing. Got to the same place, nothing. And then I went to sleep one night, and in the dream, John comes walking through an arched doorway that's right in front of me. There's another one down to my right-hand side. And it's almost like being in a doctor or dentist waiting room. There was a counter that came out at the door at my right and came up and curved in front of me right before the other arched doorway. There was a sofa and chair and lamp and everything. And I hadn't been there long enough to go, where am I and why the hell am I here, right? Just enough to notice that the edges weren't sharp like they are in our reality. And then the next thing I knew, John came walking through the arched doorway right in front of me. And I've never been starstruck because I've been around stars since I was 16. Met one of the biggest actors in Hollywood when I was 16.
Wow.
Came out from Wichita, Kansas with my mother, which is where I was raised, born and raised, by the way, in Wichita. And we came out in 1969 for the world premiere of a play that Sal Mineo was directing.
Oh,
and
okay.
We met, and it was kind of like a soulmate meeting. We both knew it. I was 16 and a half. He celebrated his birthday the day after we got there. I think he was turning 30, as I recall. Yeah. And we just hit it off, and by the end of the week, he asked me if I wanted to come out and stay with him when I graduated high school the following year. And I was like, yeah. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, what I got to do? And he said, no strings attached. I just think it'd be a kick to turn you on to Hollywood.
Wow.
And everybody in the whole group always called me the kid and everything. So I graduated high school, after that, and 3 days later moved in with Sal. So I'd never been starstruck, back to what I was talking about. And with John, I had met all of the Beatles in 1975.
Wow.
But John, I had not met John. But years later, I became friends with both of his sons, Sean and Julian.
Wow.
And had a chance to spend time with both of them. In fact, it was Sean, 9-year-old Sean Lennon, that gave me the name Marmalade, the nickname Marmalade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was about the second or third time we had hung out together, and we'd gone to a restaurant that has since closed up on Sunset Boulevard. It was a Japanese restaurant up there. And we were having dinner, and he looked at me and he said, I'm going to call you Marmalade. And I said, what is that?
It's a hair color thing?
And he, a 9-year-old kid, right? And he says, well, your hair's golden and everything, but it's got like a little strand of red here and there.
Oh.
And he said, kind of like marmalade. And he says, besides, this friend of ours that was hanging out with us at the time, he said, besides, he always calls you Sweetie Pie. You're like the sweetest person in the world. And he said, so I'm going to call you Marmalade.
Nice.
So it kind of stuck, and all of our friends in the inner circle would call me Marmalade. It's
wow.
Kind of funny. Yeah, anyway, so, and moments like that, plus, years after that, I met Julian, and it was his first U.S. tour here in the U.S., and we hit it off, and, I just adored both the kids. And
that's so cool.
Had a chance to, spend quite a bit of time with him. And Jules ended up asking me to come and be with him when he opened in Miami, when he opened the tour, and then he wanted me to be here when he closed the tour here in L.A. So I did. I was there. Like, I would want someone who was a veteran who'd been around a long time, to be there for me too, And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I had some really incredible moments with them, because I was thinking myself, why would John come to me? But, it has to be a vibrational thing. And plus, I'd started off the song telling about this guy that we knew who claimed he knew the walrus, meaning John. But he really didn't get what John was about. And keep in mind, John was not a perfect human being. None of us are. I figure if we were, we wouldn't be here anyway. He was a man, and he was a flawed man at best, like, many of us are. None of us get out of here, without having something. But at the same time, he gave the world such an incredible, incredible gift and legacy and ideas for us to live up to and promote. So I thought, well, maybe just on a vibratory level, plus the fact that I have this connection with his kids, and I love them dearly. So he comes in, and I said, oh, I love Shawnee and Jules, and oh my God, your music. And I was, all of a sudden I was like a starstruck kid, right? And it was like, blah, 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 And he said, a typical John, he goes, yeah. He says, listen, I got something I got to tell you. And he took me by the hand, and we started to take a step towards that other arched doorway to the right. And suddenly we were already in the next space. I guess in the ethereal world, it's only intention that counts. You don't actually have to do it. Like, we would have to walk from here to there. We went to take the step, and we were there already. We were in what I describe as the Grand Hall, and I was aware that there were people or entities around us in a kind of an oval shape all the way around this huge Grand Hall. But right in front of us, we were kind of angled towards each other and yet towards the front as well. And right in front of us, there were three larger, I don't know what to call it other than energy signals and light. They were like a light gray on the bottom with more of a whiter light at the top, and then golden up across like head and shoulders, and then a brighter white light over that. And there were three of them. Two on the sides were a little lower down, one in the middle was higher. And then as you looked around the room, going to the right, all the way around, of course, but they're telling me stuff, and I'm looking around and checking everything out, trying to remember everything I can see. And these people that were in the room were all the way around the room behind us and up the other side, and they were like wider around the top of the shoulders, grayer at the bottom, a little bit of white light, but no gold light. That was just for the three right in front of us. And they told me a bunch of things that I guess have to do with my mission in this lifetime.
Wow.
But the thing that I took away from it, the thing I remembered, was John turned to me at some point, when all that stuff was done, and he says, there's a reason love is never out of season, and you don't need no guru, because I know you know the walrus too, and this dream's for you.
I just got the chills.
Oh, honey, you got chills. I haven't gotten over it. I wrote this a while ago.
Wow.
So I got up. It was about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, as I recall, and my youngest son was asleep in his bed, but big house, I knew it wouldn't bother him. I went into the grand piano, and I started playing the song, and I got to that part. And the reason I couldn't finish the song is because I hadn't had the dream yet. The dream actually was part of the song and was intended to be part of the song. So when I got to that third verse, it said, well, he came to me last night, a vision in my head. He said, man, you got to listen. And I think he took me by the hand. He said, there's a reason love is never out of season, and you don't need no guru, because I know you know the walrus too, and this dream's for you.
Wow. And
it's in the song. So when you hear the song now, once you know how it happened and the way that happened, it's so much more profound. It's mind-blowing. And I was part of it, and it blows my mind.
Would you like me to play it on the show?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right. So let me just...
as many people should hear it as possible, because it's not every day someone calls you up from the other side and says, hey, say this.
All right, let's give it a listen. This is I Know You Know the Walrus Too by Jamie Skylar.
Mama called the doctor. spreads his wings and he's free, so free. Free to laugh at all those monkeys running around without any trees. And he says he knows the walrus too, and the dream is true. I think he took me by the hand. He said, you know, there's a reason love is never out of season. You don't need no guru. You've got no need to be pleasing me, 'cause I know the walrus too. I know the walrus too. And this dream's for you. You take this sad world and you make it better with your love. Yeah, you take this sad world and you make it better with your love. Yeah, you take this sad world and you make it better with your love. Yeah, you take this sad world and you make it better.
That was I Know You Know the Walrus Too by Jamie Skylar. And this is KVCM Radio 95.1, the voice of Valley College, and you're listening to DJ Lisa interviewing Jamie Skylar. Welcome back, Jamie.
Well, hi there. I'm glad to be back.
For that tiny moment that we played one of your songs, and you're back. And we had some more questions for you, too. I wanted to know, who would you say were your inspirations?
Wow. In life, most definitely my mother. In music, everyone. I loved Elvis, the Beatles, the Stones, Mamas and Papas, Bob Dylan, the Beach Boys, the Everly Brothers, and I got to hang out with most of them as a teenager.
Wow.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. I'll never forget singing with Mama Cass. And she was so sweet. What a gracious and sweet lady.
I heard she was a really happy person, too.
Yes, she was, and with good reason. Yeah, we all hung out in her house up. It was near where Sal was living on Beverly Drive in Beverly Hills at the time. I think she was over, I want to say Coldwater Canyon, but I'm not sure. I didn't know the area too well back then. But she was lovely, and she talked to me. She was one of the first people who said, with a voice like yours, she said, you better be singing. And which was just, that was an awesome thing to hear.
Nice.
As a kid, And then I went on tour and we opened the tour in New Mexico. So I got to play with people like Ray Charles and, there's a whole list of people that I've worked with. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Ron Wood. I even worked with Whoopi Goldberg.
I saw that in your bio. That is amazing.
Yeah, Bonnie Raitt. Let's see, Doug Kershaw. All kinds of people. I've worked with Willie Nelson, with just about everybody you can name practically over the years. I even worked with some people like Kenji Sawada, who was one of the top pop stars in Japan during the 80s. And what's his name? Vicente Fernandez, Latin legend. So I worked with some really interesting groups. At one point, I even was hanging out with Carlos Santana, and they were making that one song, I forget something about a witch or something. That's all I can think of right this minute.
Black Magic Woman?
Yeah, Black Magic Woman, that's what it was. Yeah, a witch, that's what it was. Anyway, so, I've spent a lot of time with these people, sometimes working, sometimes just hanging out. But I think really everybody influences you. I know when I was a little kid, my mom loved music, and she had everything in the house. We had Ray Charles, we had Nat King Cole. She had songs by Bessie Smith and Judy Garland.
Oh, Bessie Smith. Wasn't she around in like the mid-30s and she sang like a naughty song?
Yeah, and she also wrote that one, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. Oh, great song.
I don't
In fact,
know the name, the one I'm thinking of, but I don't know how much I can really say, but it had to do with shaving.
Yes.
That's all I remember. It had to do with shaving.
Yeah, she was doing some really out there stuff.
Right? That's what I heard.
So, yeah.
I mean, from
but,
that song.
There are so many. It's hard to name just a few, I loved Elton John and Bernie Taupin's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, Bernie Taupin's ex-wife, Maxine, was a good friend of mine. And I say
really?
was just because I haven't seen her in a long time. It's not that we're not still friends. I still love Maxine. I'm sure she's still around somewhere. But Elton John is they're an amazing songwriting team. And from what I know of Bernie, usually he writes the lyrics and takes them into Elton, and he figures out, the music to put to them. There's an interesting collaboration going on there. But, yeah, I've had some strange influences, too, people that other people don't usually choose as influence. But because you mentioned Elton earlier, you also mentioned, who was the other one that you mentioned earlier that the song reminded you of? Was it the Electric Light Orchestra?
Oh, I love them. But no, I said Elton John and Queen, like classic rock played on piano.
Incredible musicians with incredible depth. They're just amazing compositions. So if I was going to be compared to anybody, I like the people you chose.
Well, I know that a lot of people associate rock with like hard rock, like heavy guitars. If you just tuned in now, we're talking to, we being me, this is DJ Lisa, by the way. You're listening to KVCM 95.1, Monarch Radio, the voice of Valley College. And right now I'm interviewing musician Jamie Skylar, singer, songwriter, piano player. She plays guitar too. Her talents just keep going on. And before we end the show today, I wanted to say... once again, I wanted to say it was a pleasure, and thank you for letting me interview you on my show.
Thank you, too, Lisa. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Feeling
and
is
mutual. I
mutual.
want to say thanks to your audience and to everybody out there. Keep listening. Lisa does a great job. Love her work. Love the show.
Thank you.
And glad to talk to you whenever we can, so you can, hit me up anytime you want to.
Oh, yeah. You can give us an update if you have any concert dates that you want to remind me about. I know that there's a lot of people that like college radio, and this is also, since you're telling me I can play your music, I can also put this on my website where I have a podcast on my website, and, I can play music that I have permission to play or talk, or I can make my own music. So I'm kind of like limited, but you're saying this is my music, you can play it. So yeah. Also, I wanted to before we sign off, I just wanted to find out if there's any website in case anyone's listening. I mean, I know they're going to want to find out about you and hear more of your music, and just any sort of plugging or anything you wanted to share. Like, here's the floor, take it.
All right. Well, from what I know, it's available everywhere. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. It's all over the web and everything. We do have a website for the studio, SkylarFilmStudios.com. There's some information there. There's also a contact form there or something. I don't think they have yet set up a division on the Internet for Prophet Records and stuff about the album. That should be coming shortly. But for now, it's out there everywhere. You can find it. If anyone wants to contact us for anything else, you can contact us through SkylarFilmStudios.com. And again, Lisa, thank you so much for having us on. It's been an absolute pleasure. They're missing the best part because it was everything we said when we weren't doing the interview.
Oh, right. I mean, all of it was fun, but there was definitely some
Absolutely.
other stuff too.
Yeah, great fun.
Absolutely. I'm having a great time, and you have my contact information, so let me know if you want to come on the show another time. And like I said, if you want to let anyone know about any concert dates or any new tidbits of information, we'd love to have you.
Great. Thanks so much, Lisa, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely.
Take care, honey.
I
Peace.
feel the same. Thank you very much.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right.
And thank
Bye-bye.
you all for listening. That was Jamie Skylar, and she wanted me to mention one of her other influences was Roy Orbison. I hope you had a wonderful time listening tonight, and I hope you listen again in the future. I'm going to sign off and leave you with another one of Jamie's songs, It Makes Me Crazy. Have a great night, and until next time.
Your gallery is full of art, and gilded gold surrounds your heart, while the children that you claim starve at your door. It makes me crazy when I know just one treasure from days of old would serve the starving children quite a feast. For those of gods who say